We saw she was given a special security escort to Court 6 last night. There were thousands of Filipinos who tried to get a glimpse of the star on Court 6. Hundreds didn't manage to get in. There were, in fact, quite rowdy at times.
So take this in. Alex Eala, the Filipino tennis standout everyone has been buzzing about, just received a direct invitation from Australia's president to return and compete in a special exhibition match in Melbourne. And when I say this is big, I mean this is truly enormous in terms of what it represents about respect, fan influence, and how the sport actually operates.
Saw the record broken for the first Tuesday, set at about 58,000 back in 2020. That has now been broken today, set at about 61,000. So as you can see, just another ripper start to the Australian Open.
Let me set the scene for how this all began. During the Australian Open, when Alex Eala arrived to compete, something truly unbelievable took place. Filipino supporters showed up in massive numbers. We're talking about tens of thousands of people pouring into Melbourne, waving flags, chanting her name, and generating an unbelievable buzz that the city had essentially never seen before. The atmosphere was absolutely electric.
She's got a lot of global stardom to her. She's had some incredible results and she's beaten players like Madison Keys and Iga Swiatek, so she's the real deal, already top 50 in the world.
But this is where things got complicated. The venue was completely packed, and literally thousands of devoted Alex Eala supporters were left outside, unable to watch their tennis idol actually compete. They traveled all that distance and couldn't even make it through the entrance.
That happened. I mean, it's you could argue that it was, maybe a poor schedule, and maybe they could schedule them on a bigger court. Yes, but again, she's Alex Eala, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever, tennis player from that country, which is big.
We now transition to the current moment. Australia's leader observed precisely what transpired during the Australian Open. He witnessed the remarkable popularity of Alex Eala firsthand and made an unexpected decision. He contacted Eala directly and extended an invitation for her return to participate in this unique exhibition contest prior to her subsequent tournament. This wasn't a WTA panel making this choice. This wasn't event coordinators attempting to generate ticket sales. This was genuinely the nation's president intervening personally to provide the public precisely what they were requesting: a genuine opportunity to observe Alex Eala demonstrate her abilities. The identical situation occurred once more. Thousands of Eala's followers flooded Melbourne's roads, extremely enthusiastic about witnessing their tennis icon compete. The atmosphere was incredibly intense. The excitement was palpable throughout. Despite all the preparation and efforts to accommodate everyone, the venue reached maximum capacity again, leaving thousands of dedicated supporters stranded outside another time. The desire to witness Eala compete is simply that intense. Due to the enormous gatherings, Eala required government security escort to the location. Australian authorities weren't taking chances with such massive crowds. The instant she entered the court, she provided everything supporters anticipated. The audience exploded with excitement, the atmosphere was thrilling, and Alex Eala delivered precisely the type of outstanding tennis display and exhibited that wonderful smile that's been capturing affection globally. This is where the narrative becomes controversial and has created division. Aryna Sabalenka, who currently holds the top WTA ranking position, is seemingly quite unhappy regarding this entire matter. Consider it from her viewpoint. Australia's leader is arranging a unique exhibition contest for Alex Eala, providing presidential attention and governmental security personnel. Meanwhile, Sabalenka, despite being literally the highest-ranked competitor globally, hasn't received anything resembling this degree of acknowledgement. We must be completely objective here. Aryna Sabalenka is undeniably exceptional at tennis. She secured that top position through remarkable effort, dedication, and commanding performances throughout competitions. She absolutely warrants tremendous respect and appreciation for her achievements. However, what's occurring surrounding Alex Eala operates on an entirely different plane. This isn't truly about ranking positions in the standings. This concerns authentic connection, the profound affection and enthusiasm supporters experience for a competitor who represents their aspirations and symbolizes their ambitions on the grandest platform. Alex Eala isn't currently among the top 10. She's actually positioned at 40th in the WTA rankings, though that's 9 spots higher than her Australian Open standing. However, those rankings reveal only partial truth. What distinguishes Alex Eala is this extraordinary bond she's created with her supporter base, particularly the Filipino community globally, which is remarkably vast and intensely passionate about supporting their national tennis representative. The manner Alex Eala manages this attention demonstrates remarkable integrity and modesty. She's been consistently grateful for the tremendous affection she receives wherever she travels. She comprehends this transcends her individual achievement. She's embodying the aspirations of an entire nation, millions of Filipinos worldwide who perceive something genuinely remarkable in her, something worthy of celebration. Let's explore what initially prompted this presidential participation. Novak Djokovic, undeniably among tennis's legendary figures, publicly criticized the WTA regarding their treatment of Alex Eala throughout the Australian Open. Djokovic's stance was that the WTA committed a significant mistake by assigning Eala to smaller venues, despite her evident popularity and thousands of supporters who had traveled specifically to observe her perform. Djokovic didn't restrain himself, declaring Alex Eala the most exceptional tennis talent the Philippines has ever generated, stating she merits complete recognition. However, according to Novak, the WTA isn't demonstrating that recognition. They're not providing her equitable treatment. Djokovic pressed further, proposing that this inadequate management might have contributed to her initial round elimination from the Australian Open. Reflect on what Djokovic is truly emphasizing. He's arguing that the competitive setting has substantial influence on competitor performance. The venue dimensions, crowd enthusiasm, supporter atmosphere, illumination arrangement, the competition surface, each of these factors impacts player performance, particularly when tension is extremely high like at a Grand Slam tournament. When you place a competitor who attracts thousands of supporters on a minuscule court where most of those supporters can't even enter to encourage her, you're essentially preparing her for failure. Djokovic's criticism definitely resonated. It initiated discussions. It made individuals question why the WTA would handle one of their most beloved competitors so inadequately. Clearly, it captured the Australian president's attention as well, observing how disappointed Eala's supporters were following the Australian Open, watching thousands of individuals who had journeyed from various locations just to witness their champion compete depart frustrated. The Australian president determined he needed to intervene personally. He brought Eala back to Australia, arranged this unique exhibition event, and ensured she had the appropriate platform to perform for her supporters the way it should be executed. However, what's truly remarkable about this entire situation is that even with a specially organized event, even with presidential backing behind it, the stadium still couldn't accommodate all of Eala's supporters. Thousands were still stranded outside waiting. This demonstrates just how rapidly Alex Eala's popularity is expanding. We're observing supporter dedication that's exceptionally uncommon in tennis, that extends far beyond rankings and match outcomes. This is the type of popularity that generates global superstars. This is the kind of connection that transforms someone from merely being an athlete into something significantly greater. Alex Eala is transforming into a symbol, someone who embodies Filipino pride and accomplishment on the international platform. That's something you can't measure with WTA rankings alone. Since the Australian Open, Eala has been working diligently, enhancing her tennis and advancing in the rankings. Progressing from outside the top 50 to 41st signifies genuine advancement, and it demonstrates she's not merely popular, she's also developing into a legitimate contender on the WTA circuit. However, what this entire situation truly reveals is this disconnect between how the WTA approaches competitor management versus what supporters actually value. The WTA operates within a structure of rankings and seedings, which makes complete sense from a competitive perspective. However, when you've got a competitor who attracts crowds like Alex Eala does, when you've got someone who can fill stadiums and generate the kind of enthusiasm that helps the entire sport flourish, perhaps there should be some flexibility in how these athletes receive treatment. The Australian president obviously comprehends this. He identified an opportunity to bring joy to thousands of individuals, to celebrate a rising talent, and to demonstrate respect to a competitor who has earned it through her bond with supporters. The fact that Aryna Sabalenka might be disappointed by this makes sense from her position, but it also somewhat overlooks what's genuinely occurring here. This isn't about diminishing Sabalenka's accomplishments. This is about recognizing that tennis exists ultimately for the supporters, and when supporters make their preferences heard this distinctly, it makes sense to listen. Alex Eala's journey is just beginning, currently 40th globally and advancing with supporter backing that most competitors would desire. With legends like Novak Djokovic advocating for her appropriate treatment, everything ahead appears incredibly promising. The Australian president's decision to bring her back to Melbourne is far more than just a pleasant gesture. It's acknowledgement that something exceptional is developing here, and that Alex Eala merits recognition not just for where she's ranked currently, but for what she symbolizes and what she's becoming. This represents a fresh era in tennis where popularity, connection, and cultural significance carry equal importance as rankings. Alex Eala is establishing that era with every single match she enters.